10 days of Joe Biden. How does it feel? He's not unifying. He's not leading. He is signing just about anything they put in front of him. And for the far left, that might be enough. I don't think they're excited about him, but they are excited about some of these executive orders and some of these policies. And Joe has made it clear he's along for the ride. One of those executive orders will make it easier for men to play in women's sports, certain women's sports. He's signing stuff that is laying the groundwork for a Trump comeback, I believe, in 2024, doubling down on the policies that helped give rise to the Trump presidency in the first place. Yeah. And here's a hint, actually. GameStop. Have you been watching this? Everybody is rooting for the little guy. And the little guy, a couple of thousand of them, got together and drove up GameStop stock in a wild kind of stick it to the hedge fund guys. Here's the thing, though. The hedge fund guys, they're not happy. Who knows if they got through to the Biden administration? Janet Yellen, the new Treasury Secretary, we know that she knows all of these guys because she has taken hefty fees from them over the years. Take a look at this. $7 million in speaking fees over the past couple of years by such big names there. Oh, Citadel, they're involved in the GameStop situation. They don't like it at all. And let's dig down a little bit deeper here. Citadel actually, yeah, hundreds of thousands of dollars paid to Janet Yellen to hear her speak. Wow, that must be one heck of a speech, right? Let's listen.
Any outward shift in the expected date of liftoff for the federal funds rate also suggests that the Federal Reserve will be holding a large stock of assets on its balance sheet longer, which should work.
Okay, you get the idea. I don't think it's what she's saying when they hire Janet Yellen to come speak. It's more access to her. I've heard of this happening before. Who knows? Maybe I'm being too cynical, but we'll see, okay? White House comment real quick on this major situation that has captivated the entire country.
Do you anticipate President Biden to address the GameStop controversy when he meets with his economic team a little bit later this morning?
No.
Okay, no circling back. She's quite definitive about that. All this stuff makes me reminisce about Donald Trump. What would he be saying right about now?
Whatever happened to Hunter? Where the hell is he?
Well, Mr. President, we finally figured it out. Hunter Biden is hanging around the White House. Probably doesn't belong there, but that's where he is. Hunter Biden spotted a couple of times with his dad, the president. Yeah, look, that kind of makes sense. But remember, he was hidden during the campaign, and now he's out and about. Here's another Biden you're probably going to be seeing a lot more of. You didn't see too much during the campaign. Younger brother, Frank Biden. Interesting fellow here. He works for a law firm, but he's not a lawyer. He is the non-lawyer advisor. Let's take a look at his bio on the website. Frank is a former Clinton administration director of legislative and congressional affairs. That's news to a lot of us who were covering the Clinton administration. We don't remember him having such a senior role. They do mention on the firm's website that his older brother is the president of the United States. Frank is the face of a law firm, and remember, he's not a lawyer.
I'm Frank Biden. I'm the non-attorney senior advisor to clients statewide who need diversified business solutions through the Berman Law Group. I'm available for consultation with attorney Teddy Berman in any of our offices statewide.
How about that? You make an appointment with Teddy, you get to sit down with the President of the United States' brother, Frank, non-attorney working at a law firm. Folks have known about this for a long time, but the left-leaning media refused to report on it. Now it's really tough to ignore. I want to show you something from Politico. This is a Beltway favorite of a publication. It reads, for Chuck's sake, watch yourself. Biden warns family over business dealings. That's from the 28th. And how about this? There's something called the Daily Business Review, all right? It's a trade publication for lawyers, and they took out 2 pages celebrating their non-attorney working for the law firm, who happens to be the brother of the President of the United States, Frank Biden. Here's a portion of this ad that again ran on Inauguration Day. The two Biden brothers have long held a commitment to pushing environmental issues to the forefront. The president-elect has vowed to rejoin the Paris Agreement and wants to set ambitious greenhouse gas reduction targets, for example. Similarly, the lawsuit against Big Sugar is just another example of how the two brothers' core environmental beliefs align. And here's something else that I like in this. It reads, when Frank Biden joined the Berman Law Group, we knew that with him came the Biden reputation for philanthropic, social, and environmental issues. Philanthropic and social. Is that what most people think of when they see Joe Biden? I don't know. I just don't know about that. Lately, though, he is talking a lot, for the first time, I think, in his professional career, outside of this recent campaign, about racial justice.
Raging virus, growing inequity, the sting of systemic racism.
A whole of government effort to advance racial equity and root out systemic racism.
Forcing us to confront systemic racism and white supremacy.
Addressing racial equity, a priority across the government.
Government initiative to embed racial equity across federal policies.
This has never been Joe's issue. Joe used to hang out with Senator Byrd, a former Klansman, all right? That really, really happened. And Joe, of course, has been incredibly insensitive throughout his life when it came to anything involving skin color or race.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
We all have seen those clips, but here's my point. We are having a silly conversation in this country about race, led by the Biden administration and the far left, to avoid having a serious, substantive conversation about race. All right, take a look at these individuals. Throughout their careers, from time to time, they've attempted to have a serious conversation about race. Sheriff Clark, the late Herman Cain, Ben Shapiro, Dr. Carlson, and Barack Obama. Yes, at times in his career, he has actually said some pretty interesting and compelling and even useful things about race in America.
Go into any inner city neighborhood, and folks will tell you that government alone can't teach our kids to learn. They know that parents have to teach, that children can't achieve unless we raise their expectations and turn off the television sets and eradicate the slander that says a black youth with a book is acting white. They know those things.
Interesting, right? There were some cultural issues in the black community that Barack Obama at one point was willing to take on, head on. Here's more as president.
African Americans in communities where I've worked, there's been notion of acting white, which sometimes is overstated, but there's an element of truth to it where, okay, if boys are reading too much, then, well, why are you doing that? Or why are you speaking so properly?
He had a lot to offer on this subject, but when he would go there, guess what? The left, they didn't like it. He'd be criticized, so he barely ever went there during his administration. It's much easier for Barack Obama and people on the left to blame other forces for issues in that community. I'm sorry. White supremacy, that is a very popular boogeyman. Now, let's be clear. White supremacy and this kind of imagery is ridiculous and stupid, hateful and wrong. But is it really the cause of the problems that we're seeing in America right now? Joe Biden wants us all to think so.
And now, a rise of political extremism, white supremacy, domestic terrorism that we must confront and we will defeat.
Let's take a look at our recent past. January 6th, we had a horrible incident at the Capitol. And yes, there was some horrific imagery there. You saw that flag. But over the summer, 275 violent riots, property damage, people injured. 275 versus 1. Which is the more pressing problem for America right now? I'll say this about white supremacy. I've lived all over this country. I lived in the Deep South. I spent a lot of time in places like Mississippi, North Carolina, the Panhandle of Florida. White supremacy is not a thing, ladies and gentlemen. It's just not. And perhaps for a more credible source, here's Candace Owens.
I said today that are actually harming Black America. Number one, father absence. Number two, the education system and the illiteracy rate. Illegal immigration ranks high, abortion ranks high, white supremacy and white nationalism, if I had to make a list again of 100 things, would not be on it. This hearing, in my opinion, is a farce, and it is ironic that you're sitting here and you're having 3 Caucasian people testify and tell you what their expertise are. Do I know what my expertise are? Black in America. I've been Black in America my whole life, all 30 years, and I can tell you that you guys have done the exact same thing every 4 years ahead of an election cycle, and it needs to stop.
The one and only Candace Owens. Wow. A serious conversation about race, not a silly one.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.